The 2026 Miami Grand Prix was absolutely insane, and I don't mean that in a subtle way. I mean spins, crashes, last lap drama, and a race that somehow kept getting worse, or better depending on who you support. Sorry Ferrari fans, you don't deserve this. You had championship leaders under pressure, Verstappen doing things no one expected, McLaren suddenly looking like the fastest team on the grid, and in the middle of all of it, a 19-year-old showing everyone who is the boss at Mercedes. And just when you thought the race was settling down, it somehow found new ways to completely fall apart. Because what happened in Miami wasn't just entertaining, it might have just changed the entire direction of this season. After the long break we got, Formula One was to resume in Miami. Yeah, it was certainly not one of the premier racetracks. Miami is one of those tracks people love to complain about right up until the race actually starts. Because on paper, it shouldn't work. It's got that weird tight section that feels like a parking lot, a massive straight where everyone just sends it, and of course, the iconic fake marina with boats that have never seen water in their lives. It's basically Formula One's version of a movie set. But somehow, against all odds, it always delivers. Every single year, something ridiculous happens, whether it's drivers nearly binning it out of nowhere, strategy calls that make zero sense, yeah, I'm talking about you, Ferrari, or races flipping upside down in seconds. Miami has this talent for turning normal weekends into complete chaos. And coming into 2026, there was already that feeling again, like something was about to go very, very wrong. Because this season, it's not stable, not even close. And that tension was building long before the lights even went out. Coming into Miami, there was one name quietly sitting at the top of everything, and no one really knew how to process it: Kimi Antonelli. Because this isn't supposed to happen this fast. Second season in Formula One, and he's already leaving the championship like he's the next Ayrton Senna or something. The kid is not beating those allegations, is he? No panic, no overdriving, no young driver mistakes. Just calm, calculated wins like he's been doing this for 10 years. And the scary part? It's starting to look normal. 3 races, 3 wins on the table, and suddenly people aren't asking if he's good anymore. They're asking if this is already his era. Meanwhile, everyone else is scrambling. You've got experienced drivers making mistakes, teams second-guessing strategy, and pressure building across the grid. But Antonelli? He just shows up, does his job, and leaves, like he's not even part of the chaos happening around him. But while one team was rising quietly, another one was starting to crack in ways we haven't seen in years, and it was about to get very obvious. Hey, it's Formula Jabs, mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already. And while you're already down there, why don't you leave a like as well? Something is off at Red Bull. And it's not even subtle anymore. Red Bull racing used to feel inevitable. You'd show up on Sunday already knowing how the race was going to end, and it usually involved Max Verstappen disappearing into the distance like the rest of the grid owed him money. But now, it feels shaky. Behind the scenes, things aren't looking great. Key people leaving, others being linked away, and suddenly the team that used to run like a machine is starting to feel like it's held together with vibes and last-minute meetings. And when that starts happening, the driver feels it too. Verstappen doesn't look as comfortable anymore. The car isn't as dominant, the strategy isn't as sharp, and the margin for error? Basically gone. And here's where it gets interesting. There's been a lot of talk, nothing confirmed but enough noise, that if things keep going like this, he might not stick around forever.
Can you tell us how it is to drive that car?
Not fun, but I'm not frustrated. I'm way beyond frustration. So for me, I'm just yeah.
Whether that means switching teams or stepping away entirely, nobody really knows. But when those kinds of conversations even start, you know something's wrong. Because Red Bull aren't just fighting other teams right now, they're fighting themselves. And Miami was about to expose that in the worst way possible. Before the main race even started, Miami had already dropped a hint that things were about to get out of hand, and it came in the sprint. Other than the questionable video that we saw in the McLaren garage, McLaren boys were very solid. Lando Norris didn't just win it, he controlled it. Clean, confident, no chaos needed, which is already suspicious in Miami because nothing here is ever that simple. Right behind him, McLaren pace looked real. McLaren weren't just quick over one lap, they had consistency, race pace, and most importantly, they looked comfortable, like a team that knows exactly what they're doing. And then there was Antonelli, still right there. Even when things weren't perfect, he was in the mix. No panic, no overreaction, just waiting, watching, calculating. Meanwhile, Red Bull, yeah, not great. Verstappen had moments, sure, but it didn't feel dominant. It felt like he was fighting the car more than the grid, and that's never a good sign. So by the time Sunday rolled around, the setup was clear. McLaren looked dangerous, Antonelli looked inevitable, and Red Bull looked vulnerable, which in Formula One usually means one thing. Something is about to go very, very wrong, and it happened almost immediately.
Press and hold boost.
The lights go out, and within seconds, the entire race just collapses. From pole, everything looks normal for about half a second, and then suddenly, it isn't. Max Verstappen, the guy who usually turns race starts into a formality, completely loses it. A snap, a spin, and just like that, he's gone from fighting for the lead to rejoining the race like he accidentally pressed rewind on his own weekend. No contact, no dramatic battle, just gone. And you could almost feel the entire grid pause for a second like, wait, did that just happen? Because Verstappen doesn't do that, not like this. And while he's trying to recover, everything else starts unfolding at the same time. Cars making contact, positions changing everywhere, drivers trying to avoid becoming part of the highlight reel for the wrong reasons. It's absolute chaos. And right in the middle of it, Antonelli just slips through. No drama, no panic, just clean, controlled positioning while the rest of the field is busy losing their minds. Meanwhile, McLaren are right there too, suddenly in a position they probably weren't even expecting this early. And just like that, the entire race dynamic flips. The favorite is out of position, the contenders are now leading, and the pressure instantly doubled. But somehow, that wasn't even the craziest part of the race. Because a few laps later, Miami delivered a moment that made everyone stop watching the timing screens and just stare. Just when things start to settle down, Miami decides it's not done yet. Out of nowhere, everything goes sideways. Pierre Gasly gets caught up in contact, and what happens next doesn't even look real at first. The car lifts, tilts, and suddenly it's upside down. For a split second, the entire race just freezes. No jokes, no commentary, just that moment where everyone's trying to process what they just saw. Because this isn't the kind of thing you expect in modern Formula One. Thankfully, he walks away, but the message is clear. This race is right on the edge. Safety car comes out, the field bunches up, and now everything resets. And here's where it gets dangerous, because when you compress the grid like this, strategy becomes everything. Gaps disappear, pressure builds, and suddenly one decision can win you the race, or completely ruin it. At the front, the fight is still alive. Antonelli, Norris, McLaren, all right there. And behind them, Verstappen is now in recovery mode, trying to salvage something from a race that already slipped through his fingers. But Miami wasn't done flipping the script. Because once the race restarted, it turned into something else entirely. Not chaos, a battle. Once the race restarted, the chaos didn't disappear, it just evolved. Now it wasn't about surviving, it was about who plays this smarter. At the front, it turned into a straight fight between Kimi Antonelli and Lando Norris, and this is where things got interesting. Because Norris had the pace, but Antonelli had the timing. While everyone's focused on wheel-to-wheel action, the real move happens in the pits. Undercuts, overcuts, teams trying to outthink each other like it's a chess match at 300 kilometers per hour. And somehow, Antonelli nails it. In, out, clean air, and just like that, he flips the race back in his favor. No drama, no dive bombs, no desperation, just execution. Meanwhile, McLaren are still right there, pushing, applying pressure, waiting for even the smallest mistake. And behind them, Verstappen is clawing his way back through the field like a man trying to fix a problem he created himself. Every overtake looks aggressive, every move feels urgent because it has to be. But here's the thing about Miami, even when the race starts making sense, it doesn't stay that way for long. Because just when the order looked locked in, the race decided to completely flip again, and this time, it happened at the worst possible moment. Just when it looks like everything's finally settled, Ferrari does what Ferrari does best. It completely loses the script. Heading into the final laps, the order seems locked. Gaps are stable, strategies have played out, and it's starting to feel like we're just cruising to the finish. Yeah, no. Out of nowhere, things start unraveling. Charles Leclerc, who's been fighting right in the mix, suddenly loses it. A snap, a spin, and just like that, position's gone. Not earlier in the race, not when things were chaotic. Final lap. Which is honestly the most disrespectful time for your car to betray you. You made it through all the madness just to get humbled right at the end. And it doesn't stop there. Cars are struggling, drivers barely hanging on, positions changing in the dying moments. It's messy, it's dramatic, and it's exactly the kind of ending this race was building toward. Meanwhile at the front, no mistakes, no panic, just control. Because while everyone else is busy falling apart, one driver is doing the exact opposite. And at this point, it's not even surprising anymore. Through all the chaos, all the crashes, all the strategy games, Kimi Antonelli just drives away with it. No last lap panic, no mistakes, no young driver moment, just control. And that's what makes this scary. Because it's one thing to win when everything goes your way. It's another to win when the race is falling apart around you and you still come out on top like it was all planned. That's 3 wins in a row now. At this point, it's not hype anymore. It's not potential. It's not he could be the future. This is the future. Meanwhile, McLaren lock in a double podium with Lando Norris right there pushing him to the end, proving they're not just fast, they're a real problem. And then there's Max Verstappen. What should have been another dominant weekend turns into damage control after that opening lap mistake, fighting through the field, trying to recover something, but the truth is, the race was already gone. And that's the bigger story here, because for the first time in a long time, Red Bull don't look inevitable, McLaren look ready, and Antonelli, he looks unstoppable. This was bigger than just one race. This wasn't just an insane race. This was a shift. A race where the dominant force cracked, the challengers stepped up, and a new leader made it look easy. Miami didn't just give us chaos. It showed us that Formula One might be changing right in front of us. And if this is what the rest of the season looks like, yeah, we're in for something crazy.